Hello, little spontaneous talking to myself to a camera video, I guess. It's like January 30th, not December 30th, not 2025 yet. What have I been up to? My hair looks a little crazy. It's actually very clean. It's just when my hair is clean, it gets like super frizzy and poofy. My hair is so long now. I'm not used to it being this long. I have that like short hair mentality. I feel like when you get your hair cut significantly, you don't really register how much it's grown. Like mentally, my hair is still like to here, which was not a good decision. I was like, I don't know, like 12 or something, and I cut my hair to like my chin for whatever reason, and now it's finally this long. And I really don't cut it. I went to like a hairdresser maybe like a month ago because I didn't really have any need to go. I mean, no, I did want to get like a little trim just because I know my hair is not super healthy. And she said I should get a lot cut off because it really is dead at the end, but I didn't want to get rid of all this progress. I'm happy. I'd rather have it long and dead than short and healthy. I don't know. I mean, eventually it'll, if I keep trimming it regularly, eventually all the gross, dead stuff will grow out. So that's my plan, I guess, as far as my hair. I watched the new Bob Dylan movie. That was actually surprisingly pretty good. I'm not that I had like super low hopes for it. I thought it was like a weird. I've seen the actor Timothy Chalamet in some other movies. I didn't really think. I thought Bob Dylan was kind of random. I think like the last thing he played was Willy Wonka. But he did a good job. He did incredible, like mimicking the. Like I watched the movie and the person I was watching it with thought that it was actually Bob Dylan singing, and they thought like they blended the cover, like the original songs into the movie, but no, it's actually the actor singing. And he did a surprisingly great job with like the accent and stuff. Like he really did sound good considering he's not like a musician. Maybe this will inspire him to make music. I feel like it'd be so cool to be an actor and you're literally like getting paid, and like your job is to like learn this skill. Like part of his job, he's getting paid for this obviously, is like, okay, just hone in for a couple years, learn how to sing like Bob Dylan. Like that'd be so cool. It's like same with, I think, I don't really keep up to date with movies, but someone was saying they want to see an Angelina Jolie movie who's not a singer. I don't know. They said like she's like learning opera just for this movie. Like that's so cool. Like they're just like, here's some money, you're gonna be in this movie, and we're gonna give you a year to learn this cool skill. Or like there's plenty of examples. Like Margot Robbie was in a movie which I haven't seen, but she had to like learn how to ice skate. Like that's so cool. I love learning things. Like that'd be so cool if someone was like, hey, here's all this money to learn this thing, and then we'll shoot a movie of you doing it. I'm sure there's tons of pressure too. Obviously, if you're playing an ice skater, if you're playing Bob Dylan, that's so much pressure. That's a lot of pressure. Like props to like playing a character is one thing, but playing like a real person who is a musician. Same thing to like the girl who played Amy Winehouse. She got like so much hate, but props to her. Like that's a big thing to take on, playing like an actual musician in like a movie about their life. Work's been good. It's less crazy now. Like I can't even like pretend that like my job's hard. I'm like cashiering at a retail store. I can't make it sound crazy. It really is not difficult. But it's less crazy now that Christmas is over. Although we have like a lot of people doing returns and stuff. I can't really say it. The hardest part about it is just me being there, feeling like I'm wasting time. Because I'm making money, but like I'm not really learning anything out of being a cashier. Which that's how a lot of jobs are. Like it'd be nice to have a job where you feel like you're actually. There are jobs like that. That's usually like kind of more higher careers. Most like minimum wage jobs are kind of just doing tasks, which is I want to make the money, so I'm not complaining. But that's just like the hardest part. If there really is a hard part about it, it's just like feeling like I'm being useless, like cashiering, but making money. And so I am doing something productive, even if I feel like I'm not. I am making money. And what else? Today was pretty good. I started my intercession college courses. It's not that bad, but it's like 2 weeks long, and it's a whole semester smudged in there. I'm taking 2 of them. My advisor was like, you shouldn't even take. I'm pretty good at school, like academic wise, so I'm not like concerned. But it definitely is a lot, and she was saying I definitely shouldn't take more than one if I am gonna take one. But I took 2. Again, it's still doable, but it's like a module is due a day, which technically didn't start yet. They like opened it early, but I think it starts January 1st, so I've been working ahead, which is good. I'm glad they opened it early, so that way I'll probably be ahead the whole 2 weeks. But like looking at the due dates, it's like a whole module of like, you know, a whole subject and quizzes a day. And I'm doing it for nutrition for my science credit and English 102. And like 102, I was like looking at the syllabus for the class, and he does not, you know, he's like, you gotta upload it in this specific format, which makes sense because it's an English class, but like I only accept it if you don't submit it as a Word document, then you get no points. Like, but I mean, I'd rather them tell us what to do than like have any guess and get it wrong. But I was like, oh, okay, don't wanna, gotta be very specific with this teacher. But I think that's how a lot of the best teachers are. But I'm not sure if I'm just gonna grind through this course and like do as much as I can. I don't think I'll learn, but I'm also not really looking to learn too much about, I mean, nutrition and English are like good subjects to know about, but you know, I'm not like gonna probably memorize most of the stuff after I finish the classes. I feel like I'm just gonna power through them in 2 weeks, and then it's probably gonna all fall out of my head, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure if there's something very important, you know, I feel like nutrition kind of applies to a lot. I feel like I already know some from like biology and science in middle school. The English 102 is kind of just expanding on every other English class. I feel like every English class I've taken since like 8th grade, the first unit's about like, what is a metaphor? What's a simile? What is, you know, onomatopoeia? Like they repeat that since 8th grade. It's like every class starts like that. Like, and then they have like a quiz on it. It's like, I mean, it's easy, but it's like, you know, already gone over this a few times. So I'm thinking to put my music on like a little bit of a hold because I'm gonna be focusing on these classes. Maybe I'll I think I'll still have like a little break between when I finish these ones and start my spring semester classes. I've been driving practicing. I did parallel parking today, which was okay. I mean, I can't really call it like real parallel parking because it was in like an open parking lot and it was just behind one car. I didn't have a car behind me, and it was like, you know, it wasn't like in a roads. But I did parallel parking. Like I did the motions of it. It just wasn't like in an actual road environment. But it was my first time doing it, and I did pretty good, I think. So that's cool. And I went out to a cafe for lunch. The person teaching me to drive took me out to a cafe, and I got like a toast, and it was good. I usually eat toast for lunch, like if I'm making my own lunch. So I got like because they had like peanut butter banana toast, which, if you know me, that's like my go-to lunch. Because it's just so easy. Just get like 2 pieces. I don't even have to toast it if I'm like in a rush. I can just make it either a peanut butter banana sandwich. If I don't have any bananas, I'll just do peanut butter. I don't really like jam that much. But either I don't toast it and just make it a sandwich, or if I toast it, I just have it on 2 pieces of bread and put peanut butter on each one, and then split the banana up between them. It's a good, easy lunch, you know. Carbs, protein, fruit, fiber. You know, there's worse lunches out there, you know, and it's good. So I didn't order that at the cafe though, because that was like on the menu as like peanut butter banana toast. But I've already met. I mean, I'm sure they probably make it better than me, but I decided to get avocado toast, which is so fancy and expensive. Like I would never. It's like so funny how expensive avocados are. Like if you go to like a Chipotle or like one of those burrito shops, they charge you extra for guacamole. But I wasn't paying. Not that I'm trying to like make this poor woman pay more, but you know, I feel like I'm gonna be responsible with my money when I'm older. At least in the sense, like I don't think I'm gonna, like if someone's buying me, I feel like just as a kid, as a young girl, around people who have like full-time jobs, people like buy me coffees a lot. Not like an excessive amount, but you know, like I know like people like in the foster care agency I work for, if I have to like have a meeting with them, they'll be like, oh, do you want to get a coffee? Or like even the foster parents I live with, which I'm grateful for, but like coffees are like $5. Like if you, like I'm probably not going to continue that habit if I'm actually paying for it in the future. It's just so much money that just slowly drains away. But I don't know, maybe I'll become super rich and I can, you know, buy $13, I don't know, go crazy, spend all the money. But assuming I'm not, it's so weird like being around a mixture of people who are like have different expectations. That's like really broad, but like for instance, like there's one woman I see and she has like a daughter who lives in like New York City, which is like, you know, you gotta make a decent amount to live in New York City, but it's like in a way I'm like I could kind of follow her path, you know. Like she started at the same college I go to right now in like she like a similar college, a community college, in a similar major path. and then she went into like social media marketing, and now she makes enough money to have a huge apartment in New York City and throw parties and have fun and get fashion and all that. So I mean, I don't know her personally, but like from what I know, her life seems cool. Obviously, there's probably bad parts about it too, but like at least financially, like, whoa, I could do that. I'm like starting at the same place. I'm going to community college with the same major or a similar one, you know, taking similar classes. So like I could probably go down that route. I mean, like opportunities, you know, change for a person. The same, I'm probably not gonna have the exact same things. You know, it's possible that my life wouldn't work out that way. But like there definitely is a road or a path I could try to follow that would lead me down like a successful, like responsibly successful path, even if it's not the exact same. You know, probably could secure myself a pretty good job in something that it doesn't even suck. You know, like social media marketing or video production. Like that's not terrible of a job. It's not like super boring, especially if it's like something you're kind of mixed interested in, like video production. I like video production. I like documentaries and stuff, nonfiction stuff. I like fiction stuff too. I'm like, that's a field I'm not totally uninterested in. But it's like I could definitely, I have the resources too. You know, I'm getting my college paid for by financial aid to really craft myself a good future where I could afford to live in New York City and, you know, throw parties and whatever. Still like maybe play guitar on the side. So it's like, that'd be a good choice for me to do. I mean, I still could, I have so much time. I'm not making a huge decision today that like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I could definitely do that. I have time and I have the resources, or a lot of good resources right now. And especially right now, because I'm, you know, 16, my roof's being paid for by foster care, getting food, you know, working a part-time job, trying to get my license. You know, a lot of things are going good for me right now. But I'm just like kind of locked in on music, and I feel like I'm not even like doing that much with that. Like I haven't even like I've wrote plenty of songs and stuff. I just don't feel like good at music, and that's like such a terrible, like statistically bad path to go down, just because like that's really hard to make money, like a piece, like successful, like afford to have a whole three floor apartment in New York City. I mean, to be fair, I think she lives in like the outskirts, but you know, still in the city, you know, there's subways and 3 floors or something like that. Like that's pretty crazy and good. But like pursuing music isn't the best. I just really, I'm not like locking and making a decision today, but I just really enjoy it, and it's not something I'm naturally talented in, I feel like. But if I keep pushing, I'm excited for spring, because I'm going to be taking more music classes, and I hope that'll make me more confident. But I don't know, I feel like such like a bullshitter, because I'm like, music. I'm like, in my like spare time, not in my spare time, like in my time, I'm always working on music. I'm not working, but now, you know, when I work more, they're working me more now that college is out, so I've been spending less time on that, and then now I just started my intercession classes, so it's even less time. Like I have songs that are written and put to music, and I just don't have good recordings of them, because I still feel like I'm not a great singer, which is like true, like that's not a lie, but I just need to like, I feel like it's better to like make bad music and like fully make it and like post it or just whatever, you know, put it out there, than just be like perfectionist. Because like, maybe one day I will actually get really good, but I'll still be like, oh well, it's my first music I'm putting out there, so it has to be super good. You know, I feel like I should start putting out shitty stuff, which I have done that a little bit, but not really like full. I just need to keep doing that and not stopping on that. Recent music influences. I've been listening to a lot of like 2000. There's been like a big, not like huge, I think just depends on like what side of the internet you're on. Not that I try to spend like excessive amount of time on the internet, but you know, sometimes I'm scrolling around and like kind of falling into that like indie sleaze phase, revival. Like, oh, there was one song, like, and these are like songs that like I would have thought were like bad like a couple years ago. I'm not gonna bother to find it right now, but just like pop music that was like just slightly before my time, like pop, indie, alternative music, but not just that. I'm still huge into folk. That's always just huge for me. I don't have any specific examples. Pretty much the same stuff. I've been trying to spend more time creating music and singing music than listening to music, but I'm always listening to music if I'm in the car. I wish I could like have headphones on while I'm working, because like it's such an easy job. Like it's pretty easy. I mean, there's like some little things, but like objectively, you know, cashiering is not a hard job. So like I could definitely still function if I had like, you know, my headphone, like one AirPod in. But I mean, I know that would be like rude. Like I wouldn't actually do that, and that'd be like I would not be a good employee if I did that. Compared, you know, I'm not allowed to do that. I wouldn't want to disrespect my managers or whatever. But I'm just saying I could still, especially like when I'm putting clothes back on the rack, like when I'm interacting with customers, I could definitely have some music in my ears instead of just what they play. Oh, sometimes I like when, because I don't really listen to the radio. I mean, I definitely don't ever listen to the radio when I'm like in my, not in a car. If I'm in the car, sometimes the radio's on. Although, usually if I'm in the car, I have my own headphones on. So I guess like when I'm at work is like the one time I'm really listening to like the pop, you know, like top 20. I mean, that's not true because I'll hear it around somewhere. But sometimes I kind of like, when I'm like not talking to a customer, like thinking like, what's the word, like analyzing the like music. I'm like, why is this song on the top 10? What's so special about these ones? I feel like I used to just like I feel like a lot of young girls, like when I was like maybe 10 or 11, I was like, oh, I hate, you know, popular music. I like, you know, emo rap alternative stuff that you never heard of, like popular bands that everyone probably has heard of, but just like were alternative. But I feel like now I've kind of become more appreciative of just like I think there's no genre of music I don't like. I think rap is the one. People like try to get me into rap. I have tons of friends who love rap. I feel like that's just like, it's like I can appreciate it, but like it's just hard. Like I don't say never, but I'm just like, I'm never like, oh, I'm gonna listen to music, I'm gonna put on some rap songs. I don't know why. It's hard for me to get into. Like I know there's like some specific artists that I can like get behind it, and I can still like listen to it and like appreciate it, but just like I'm never in the mood to listen to rap music. There's some artists I have that I listen to that are like bordering on rap, but still like I wouldn't call them rap artists. So that's like the one thing I'm trying to get into, because there's so many like lyrical geniuses in rap, and lyrics are like huge. I love lyrical songs. So I don't know if anyone's watching this and has good rap recommendations, let me know. And don't say the same ones that everyone tells me. Like that, I don't know. I have this friend, and he didn't ghost me. That's a lie. But he was supposed to meet up with me this weekend, and I was gonna pay him, and he was gonna give me some bottles. But then he's had plans. We made plans, and he's like, oh, something came up. So I was a little mad. I wasn't mad about that. I'm a pretty chill person, but I was a little disappointed. But also, you know, I need to be focusing on my schoolwork, focusing on my music, not trying to get side quested. But, you know, sometimes you just want to chill out. I feel like I've been doing more of that, but still like in a functional way. Usually I only do it like when I know, like drink or smoke or something, like when I know I can't be doing something else. Like if I'm going on like a long car ride, I'm like, I don't do it excessively, like I'm not trying to be blackout in the car with other people, or like if I'm about to go to bed, like in an hour or hour and a half, I'll be like, okay, let's get shit-faced before I go to bed, just to mix it up. But it's gonna be 2025, and I did not do shrooms this year. I feel like I didn't, that might sound so stupid, like people who done like hard drugs, but like, it was kind of a good, I did them last year when I was 15, 2023. I was like, I want to do it again, you know, just do it like once a year or something. But I didn't get my hands on them this year, and now it's gonna be 2025. That's fine. That wasn't like something I needed to do. But I was like, oh, I should do that before the end of the year. But now it's the end of the year. But not trying to get side quested. There's like so many people out there who would have been like not to be like would have been amazing, but you know, like they have so much potential, and then not even just like drugs or alcohol. Although that's probably the cause for many of it. Like I feel like everyone's met those people who you're like, oh, you would have accomplished like so much in life if you didn't get like hung up on drinking or drugs. Again, not to say like they're bad people now, but you just know they would have done a lot with their life if they didn't get fascinated with drugs or alcohol, which I can totally like understand the draw, but I think I'm disciplined enough to not completely fall into that. I hope, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of people who say that and oh, life happens, but But not even just that, family stuff, which, I mean, it's, like, terrible to say, because there's some people who are happy having a family, and if that's, like, your goal in life, and, like, that's your goal in life, and that, that makes you happy, that's what makes you happy. I'm not saying, like, don't have a family, but I'm saying, like, there's so many people who you can kind of, like, see, like, oh, you were gonna do a lot with your life, and then you got, like, hung up with a family, which, again, like, that, maybe that was their ultimate goal, maybe whatever their potential thing was just, like, what they were doing in the meantime before they had a family, because some people, like, they really feel like their purpose in life is to have a family, and again, that's not even, like, a bad thing, that's, like, a pretty wholesome thing, you want to raise another person. I feel like for me, that's not really, at least right now in my life, I don't really want that. My life could always change. I'm not saying, like, I would never want a family, but just, like, right now, that's not really something I think about or romanticize. But I just definitely know a lot of people where I'm like, you had, like, this huge thing going for you, and then, something happened, or, like, a death happened. I don't know, I just really want to be someone who can power through whatever life throws at me, which, I mean, is so much easier said than done. I'd like to think I've, like, powered through a good amount, but I'm still young, and there's definitely way more shit that's gonna come my way. So hopefully I can keep that mentality. I think everyone would want to keep that mentality. I don't think there's anyone who wants life to screw them up, whether, like, in a good way or a bad way. I mean, again, if it's, like, something good, like, oh, you had a family, then, maybe you prefer that, but, something, like, people don't really wake up and like, oh, I want to, give my life up to alcohol and drugs, but it's like, oh, that feels kind of better than trying at something, and it can be scary, like, for no reason, and, like, sometimes I think about life, and I'm like, oh, it's all kind of silly and pointless, and, like, existential, like, nothing really matters, so just, like, do whatever you want, why not try, we're all humans, we're all really kind of, like, on the same slate, like, there's nothing really different about me and, like, every other person. Of course, there's some things, but, like, all in all, we're still, have a lot of the core same functions and thoughts and stuff, even if they're all a little different, a lot of the basic stuff's still there, a lot of the potential's still there. Again, people are raised in different circumstances and have different opportunities, but just, like, the same general stuff is usually pretty similar, at least in, like, some part of our life. And then sometimes I'm like, oh my god, life is scary, I just want to hole up and I don't know. But that's not how I think about most of the time. That's, like, 1% of the time. And then I usually get past that. I always get past that, otherwise I would be holed up in a room, and I don't really want that. Because then if I get in that, like, I'm scared of life mindset, I pretty quickly get bored of it. I'm like, I've already wasted so much of my life. Sorry for the noise. And then, which I guess is a good part about feeling like, because I had, like, a pretty decent chunk, like, a couple years where I was really stagnant and not, like, I wasn't in school, and, I was just kind of, like, in a room all day, like, when I was in shelters in the hospital and stuff. And, I mean, obviously, I feel like shit for all that time I wasted, like, yeah, I did some stuff, I did read some books, I did talk to some people, I definitely maybe made little baby steps of aging and progressing, but all in all, it felt like kind of like a big pause in my life, which I, feel like, like, I'd rather have been doing something and progressing in that time, like, oh, I could have learned so much if I spent that time on music, maybe I'd be an awesome singer now. But, sometimes I am kind of grateful for it, because I think because I experienced that pause, which I'm sure there's people who've experienced way longer pauses, like 2 years, I went 10 years and whatever, but at least for me, especially at my age, 16, 2 years out of that is kind of significant. 2 years, give or take, it wasn't really, like, exact numbers, but I think because I felt that kind of pause, at least, like, for me personally, it felt like a pause, I can now kind of look back, and whenever I feel like I'm being lazy now, or I feel like I just don't want to do anything, I kind of look back and I'm like, I spent all that time doing nothing, and it made me feel like shit, like, I don't want to waste any more time. Like, if I, just get really devastated, I'm like, I just want to do nothing, I just want to sleep in or whatever, be unproductive. I'm pretty quick now to being like, I really don't like that feeling, and I just feel useless, and there's nothing, I'm getting nothing good out of not bettering myself. I mean, that's not always the best mentality to have. Like, I definitely don't want to let that make me a not nice person. I don't want to be one of those people who are like, and I don't think I am, but I don't want to be, someone who's like, oh, I'm not gonna, help clean the house, or do this favor for someone, because that's wasting my time, not benefiting me. I think, socializing and engaging in relationships is a way of, you know, progressing yourself or learning from that and just becoming a more sensitive and aware person by engaging with other people. I don't want to be out of touch. I don't think I have that mentality, but I think in a lot of ways it's good to kind of be aware of not wanting to waste your own time. So in those ways, I'm grateful for that pause that I had. I think this was just a good way of thinking about it instead of thinking negatively of my past. Alright, I think I'm gonna go back to probably just grinding away at the school stuff. In some ways I kinda like doing schoolwork that I don't really, I mean, not like fully, like there's definitely things I enjoy more than doing the schoolwork that doesn't particularly interest me. I mean, there's definitely worse subjects, you know, English 102 and nutrition, you know. It was definitely more boring. At least it's not math. Oh my god. Like, I'd 1,000 times, I'd rather take like 4 English classes and 4 science classes than take a math class. Which, math isn't even awful. Like, I'm not even that bad at math if I actually lock in. It just doesn't interest me at all. I think everyone can be a little more interested in English, or, I mean, there's some people who really love math, but at least for me, I can definitely get more behind that. And I do feel maybe that kind of ties into the productivity thing too. When I'm taking math classes, like beyond learning, you know, subtraction and addition and things that you do use in life, maybe like if it was like a finance class or taxes, I might be a little more intrigued because I'm like, oh, that's gonna be useful information for me to know probably. But like when I'm learning algebra and statistics or whatever, I don't feel like I'm really learning anything that I'm gonna be using in my life, which I don't mean that like as like a rude thing to say to my math teacher, like, oh, I'm not gonna do this homework because I'm never gonna use this, like, but just me learning it, I don't feel like I can pay attention as much and I mean, I can if I really lock in, but, you know, it just doesn't come as easily, like the higher up math, just because I don't feel like I want to learn it as much as, like, even if it's like English literature that I'm not super interested in, like passionate about, I still definitely feel like I'm learning more from it. Like today I read Mouse. It was actually a good book. It was like I guess you'd call it like a comic or graphic novel. I mean, I think it's probably pretty well known. It's like about the Holocaust, but it was definitely very, I mean, that always makes me sympathetic and think a lot, because obviously it's a very dark time in history, but like that stuff I feel like I'm definitely, like, I like learning more about that stuff and, you know, history, things that actually happened. So I feel more engaged in that class. And nutrition, you know, that's relevant. We're all humans, we all eat food. That's good stuff to be aware of, you know, how to take care of your body. The stuff they teach in that class, you know, it's not like scrolling on Instagram and you see all those like fad diets and, you know, just like flies or advertising to eat this food. You know, usually classes try to be unbiased, you know, they're not sponsored by a certain food brand or something. So I can get behind those classes a little more, or just, you know, get more engaged. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, just lock in on those. Yeah, have a good day or night or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. It's so interesting. I mean, I feel like just as an American, I don't really ever talk with non-Americans. Just because I live around Americans, you know, I don't usually talk to like a ton of strangers online. So it's something like interesting that a lot of people, I mean, not that like a lot of people have commented on these videos saying like, oh, I'm from this country, but some people do. And it's just so fascinating to me that, like, and I know how the internet works, you know, I've been raised on the internet. I know people can watch these videos from any country that has internet and YouTube access, but it's just so weird that like this video gets recommended anywhere in the world, you know, it's not just regional or whatever, which again, I know that's just how the internet works, but it's just so interesting. Because I feel like I don't watch enough videos about people who live, I mean, I do watch some, but like, I feel like when I do watch YouTube, it's usually American videos. I mean, most of the videos if I'm watching YouTube are educational. They're not about wherever that person's living, but I think it's probably mainly Americans or maybe some Canadians and people from the UK, but I feel like I want to watch more stuff about the rest of the world, because just the good stuff to be aware of. But anyway, I'm gonna stop recording. Bye.